that. We ain't night riders. That. We ain't night riders.
Welcome to the Night Riders Squadcast live stream. You are now rolling with the Night Riders.
I won't deny it, I'm a straight rider. You don't wanna fuck with me. Got the police busting at me, but they can't do nothing to the G.
Again, it's on. What up? What up? Salute to everybody in the building. Who we got? Who we got? Got my man Shadow Zulu in the building. Got my man Israel Young Lion in the building. Got my man Iman Perry in the building. Couple other people in the building. Salute, salute. Good to see all of you as per usual. Let's bring that down. All right. Yes. Yes. And I would like to welcome you all to another exciting episode of the Night Riders Squad Cast. And this has been a particular broadcast that has been kind of in the making. As a lot of you may be aware, who's been following this channel from its outset, you kind of got a good idea as to what we're about. But I felt that this refresher was necessary because we've got a whole lot of new subscribers or detractors as well, and I wanted to just kind of do a very comprehensive breakdown of what our philosophy is over here, and we're gonna make it very, very enjoyable as well. And I think you guys are in for a very nice treat for those of you who are not familiar with it, and even for those of you who are. And we're going to break it down, and you will see exactly what we mean by the Night Rider lifestyle. And I'm going to outline here briefly the order of the show and how we're going to get it going, and guaranteed by the time this is over, you're going to have a very astute assessment in terms of what we are about over here. Now, before I get into that, I want to say something that I really appreciate people who give feedback about the content, whether it's in the form of leaving commentary, coming to the lives is definitely appreciate it. Shout out to all you guys in the building, people who come and leave comments, or whether it's positive or negative. Also in the emails, I've been getting a lot of emails, and one lady in particular Her name is Marie, and she sent me like 15 emails. And Marie, I'm very sure that you're either listening right now or you are definitely going to get this playback. And I want to be very clear. Like I told you in the email, I don't have time to sort through all of that you sent me. I did give you an invitation to come and talk to me live. She pretty much, I guess, takes some issue with what some of the things that I've had to say, which is cool. You know, I don't mind that. But like I said, Marie, you are welcome to call in live, and we can chop it up because even by your own admission, it's going to take me a couple hours to read all of the stuff that you sent me, and quite frankly, I just don't have the time to do that. I'm not trying to deflect or get away from it. I did peruse some of the information that you have, Marie. And by Marie, I'm not going to give your full name, but I believe Marie the Blasian, I guess it is. I think she's one of these stalkticles. That's a new word. One of these exoticals that be kind of stalking the channel. And shout out to the exoticals. Again, we're not hating on anybody over here. I know a lot of some of the things that we'd say may rub people the wrong way, but again, I'm willing to stand on anything that I say. But with regard to these emails that you've been sending me, you sent me like 15 emails, and I just simply don't have time to sort through all of that. If you could give me the clip note version, or as I said, more preferably if you want to call in live, even some of the fellas in the chat will chop it up with you. Even if you don't want to come on the broadcast, if you're listening now, you can make yourself known in the chat. This topic tonight will not be conducive to that conversation that you may want to have, but you could just let it be known that you're here because Israel Young Lion, you're in the building. She actually mentioned you in one of the emails, and she claimed, among other things, that I was giving you a pass, and that I guess you said that you had some admixture, somewhere in your background, and somehow you didn't fall under my 80% requirement. I don't know why she singled you out in particular, but she said that I was giving you a pass on my particular standard, which is the 80% African DNA plus 2 Black parents and 4 Black grandparents. And somehow this young lady was claiming that I was essentially giving you a pass. So I would definitely recommend that you chop it up with Israel Young Lion as well, Marie. So that's the other reason why I want you to call in, because to give him an opportunity to respond to what you said in the email. But yeah, I just wanted to make that clear because again, I don't have a problem with dissension or people who disagree, but we got to make sure that we are doing doing it properly. So I don't have a problem with any type of disagreement. I'm here for it, but you got to do it the right way. And what a shallow says that she likes you, Israel. I don't know, but she definitely had an issue with me giving, in her words, him a pass for suggesting that because of the rule that I came up with as a replacement for the one drop rule, which is definitely more comprehensive and more efficient and beneficial, I might add, which is the 80% African, 2 Black parents, 4 Black grandparents. And she said somehow, I guess based on something that Israel said in a previous broadcast, that he, in his background, that he would not qualify. So I'll let Israel maybe respond to that. But anyway, I just want to point that out because that has been something that I've received over the past week or two. Like I said, she sent me about 15 emails. So again, Marie, I do cordially invite you. You can come on the panel, if you like, or at the very least, you can come into the comment section or the chat, and we'll be happy to chop it up with you. Okay. Now that's that. Now, with regard to tonight's exciting topic, we are going to be getting into exactly what is the Night Rider lifestyle. And you know how I like to do it over here. We definitely have things broken down in order. The first thing that I want to do is allow you to understand that when we talk about the Night Rider lifestyle, the type of guys that gravitate to this particular content in this particular format and everything that we're doing over here tend to be the more Sigma guys as opposed to the Alpha guys. And what we're going to do tonight is give a very detailed breakdown on the differences between those two. And I think it's very important to to allow people to understand what a Sigma man is. And I'm going to briefly mention it, but we're going to break it down because we got some videos as well. But essentially, when you talk about the hierarchical structure of men, you have the betas will be at the bottom, and then you have all these different variations, and then at the top you'd have the alpha, and that's within the structure of the hierarchy. Now, the Sigma male does not fall within the structure, however, he is equal to the alpha, and he is not necessarily against working with other people. In fact, whenever he does decide to work with people, he immediately becomes the alpha. It's just like the uh, comparison between the leader of a pack of wolves, which would be like an alpha wolf, and then the lone wolf, who's fully capable of leading the pack himself, but for whatever reason, due to circumstance or personality or what have you, he prefers to hunt on his own. But again, that's not to say that he's not very well adept or even willing to work in a group if need be. However, he's more comfortable, he's more introverted as opposed to the alpha, who tends to be more extroverted. Same type of personality with regard to being masculine and dominant and so forth. However, it's just the difference between an extrovert, which typically is an alpha, and an introvert, which is normally a Sigma. So that's just a brief example, but again, we're going to go a little deeper later. So we're going to tackle that, exactly what is a Sigma, and then we're going to talk about specifically what is the Knight Rider type of Sigma man. So that is to be distinguished from just a normal Sigma, and we're going to go into why there is a distinction there, and we have our own particular brand of what we deem to be what we call ourselves in terms of Knight Rider. So we're going to get into that, and the last point that we're going to get into is that we're going to be talking about what is the Pillbox strategy, because some of you who've been rocking with me for quite some time, even from my old channel, that I've introduced something into the lexicon called, among other things, I've introduced so many things that have kind of become a household name. But anyway, this Pillbox strategy is, while it's pretty obscure still, but I think with the help of tonight's broadcast and subsequent things that we're going to be talking about, you're going to understand it quite well, because we're going to get into it. And that is to be distinguished from these other pills, because you've all heard about the red pill and the purple pill, blue pill, all these different pills, right? I'm going to show you how over in the Knight Riders, we're not necessarily part of any pill community, although there are those of you who are cross-pollinating and you are part of different communities. And that's the beauty of the Knight Riders, is that this is not a cult. We're not part of any particular sect. I'm not telling you guys that you can't go to other places, because this is, the example would be, some places they may consider you part of their hardware, right? You got to be there, and all of that. Knight Rider's lifestyle is more like a software. And I believe that you can take it anywhere you go, just like with the pill strategy. I'm going to get into it a little deeper later. But with the Pillbox strategy, because it's kind of twofold, because I like the double entendres. If you know what a pillbox is in the military sense, it's a fort where you can be in a safe distance, and you can kind of observe yourself, observe other things going on while you are being in the shadows and protected. And then the other part of it is, when you think of an actual pillbox where it holds pills, you are free to utilize whatever pill, whether it's red, purple, black, whatever, that is conducive to whatever situation. So we don't fall under a particular philosophy. We can go and deal with other places, because as you know, I rock with different channels as well. So I don't get caught up and pigeonholed in any particular category. I introduced a concept that I call the digital utility belt, which is another play on the Batman thing. And while we know Batman and other like characters are fictional, there are some real life, workable, tangible, and practical things that we can extract from these type of concepts. And so my concept of like the digital utility belt is to kind of have this very utilitarian idea of utilizing whatever can help you in any given situation. But we're going to go deeper in that a little bit later. And what we're going to do, and I think this is going to become the fun part, is that we're going to compare the Night Riders lifestyle in 3 different areas. In travel, and we're going to compare the Night Riders to the Passport Bros. We're going to compare with when it comes to money, the Night Rider strategy versus crypto, and other strategies that may be out there, and also when it comes to dealing with women. So, and that would be the Night Riders lifestyle versus the various pills, manosphere, no Keisha zones, etc. So yeah, we're gonna get it going. So because like I said, I don't want this to be a marathon because I got some things to do, but we're gonna definitely go in tonight. We're gonna have a lot of fun, and I like that you guys are in the building, so you can participate as well. So let's get it going. So to the first point, dealing with what is exactly a Sigma man. I did give you a brief descriptor, and last time we did a little poll, I think on our 1-year commencement broadcast that we did, and shout out to all you guys that were in the building for that. A lot of you guys, identified with being a Sigma, because I did put up kind of like a little quiz video, which kind of highlighted some of the personality traits, and a lot of you, in particular, that rock with us live, you definitely fall within that category. So a lot of you do understand, but I'm going to kind of give that full definition as throughout the course of the broadcast. So let me get this first video loaded here in terms of what a Sigma is, and I think a good way to deal with that would be as it pertains to comparing them to an alpha. So I think I want to start with that video. So let's go ahead and we're going to break this down. One moment.
Known to be the most successful breed of men anywhere they go. They love it when people cheer them on, and it is the main reason behind their success. The alpha male seeks to control and loves being on top of the situation at all times, but what happens when he meets someone quite the opposite? Someone he knows he cannot control. Someone equally as smart as him, if not smarter, but doesn't care to show it. Just like in a wolf pack where the alpha has no control over the lone wolf. So also in real life, alpha males find it impossible to handle Sigma males. There are some traits a Sigma male possesses that keep them on top, even out of the reach of alpha males. If you're curious to know why these two breeds of men don't mix, here are 10 reasons why alpha males can't handle Sigma males. 1. They can be alpha if they want. Nothing is more threatening to an alpha male than when he knows there's someone else who can replace him easily. Sigma males have everything they need to become alpha, but they don't want it. They have the confidence and skills to take over and lead without any problems. This does not sit well with the alpha male because alpha males want everyone to be below them in both intelligence and charisma. That is why when they see a Sigma male on his own without needing them, it hurts their ego.
Now, I don't know how many of you guys have experienced with this, but I have, both online and off, right? I've had guys who, ostensibly we were cool, we're, working on things and so forth, but, like he said, a lot of times with the alpha guys, they do kind of tend to be overbearing. Not all, because I'm cool with some alpha guys, contrary to the overall theme of this video, which is, you can't, like, Sigmas and alphas can't get along. Now, some of my best and closest friends tend to be other Sigma guys, to be sure, but I am cool with some guys that I would consider alpha. However, it just comes down to personality clashes. But I've been in those situations where you'll see an alpha who has not quite assessed who you are and what you are, and they'll kind of pull some of the same stuff that they may try to pull with a beta that may work, but then they find out very quickly, at least when it comes to me, that type of stuff doesn't work, and then it just kind of goes bad for them. So I've had those situations, whether on and offline. So this is kind of how it pertains to how a Sigma and an alpha interact. Later on, we're going to talk about how women respond to Sigmas and vice versa, how we normally respond to them. But anyway, let's get a little bit more.
Since the alpha male knows the Sigma is equally equipped as he is, He cannot control him or make the sigma depend on him. Also, the alpha male is afraid that when people begin to notice how good the sigma male is, they'll turn away from him, so he does not want to associate with the sigma male. 2. Their confidence threatens alpha males. Sigma males are known to be very confident in themselves. They trust their strength and abilities so much that it threatens the alpha male. We all know that the alpha male is a very confident person, but compared to the sigma, he is not even close. While an alpha needs a surrounding social circle to shine, a sigma doesn't need anyone to show his abilities. This makes the alpha.
Now, how many of you guys identify with that one? Because I do. I've always been the type of guy that I can work in a team. And typically when I do, just like when I was in the financial industry or other industries, I would have people deferring to me because, I always tended to be quite knowledgeable in whatever the subject was, just as a function of me wanting to be able to do a good job. It wasn't to show off and get accolades or anything like that. Although I do believe in people getting their proper credit, if they're doing a good job or if they created something, I always am a big advocate for that. Case in point, that's the reason why you'll hear me often mention when I come up with certain phrases or words or different things that we do over here. I always make it a point to identify that I was the one that did it, not because I want praise or attention, because I'm pretty introverted. I really didn't even want to necessarily um, have to push back on some of this stuff because I saw the need to do so, because I'm pretty much um, out of my comfort zone even doing these type of uh, productions, but I felt that it was necessary. I'm not the type of person who likes to be out front necessarily. I like doing the work behind the scenes. However, when there's a necessity to step up, then I do so. And even when it comes to, like I said, some of the stuff that I've come up with that I've seen permeate throughout the internet, I only point that out because of my sense of justice. Because even if it's not me and somebody else comes up with something, I always advocate for people to get their proper credit. So you might hear me bringing up things that I've started over here that other people have taken and run with it, but that's not because I want shine. It's because I want justice. I want, myself included, people to get credit for what they've come up with. So I just wanted to make that clear, because I like what he said as far as how we operate, and like what Shadow Zulu just said. And with a name like Shadow Zulu, that sounds pretty Sigma to me. But then Shadow says Sigma is me all the way. Yeah, like I said, a lot of you guys who would gravitate towards this content, and that's the reason why I even made it. Because I knew that there were other people like me who would definitely identify with this, even before I started identifying the Knight Rider sphere as a Sigma sphere. I knew that the type of guys who would rock with this content, rock with the theme, and even the time in which we broadcast, I knew that it was going to be those Sigma types. But anyway, let's get some more.
Men feel that a sigma gets everything without working for it. However, that is not the case, as sigma men also work equally as hard as alpha males. But instead of telling everyone how difficult the process is as alphas do, they only show the result, making it as though everything comes to them easily. 3. Women are more attracted to sigma males. Society believes that women are more attracted to alpha males, but that is not true. Women are more attracted to sigma males because they are the real men. Even though it seems all attention is on the alpha male in the center of the room, it doesn't take long before the ladies start noticing that gentleman sitting at the corner enjoying his solitude. Now, because the
See, that's the one they don't want you to know about. I'm here to tell you guys, and I'm sure you've experienced it too. If you've ever been in a setting, whether it be, I don't really club like I used to, but I was that guy that would just be chilling in a corner, even when I was with my crew or whatever. And I always noticed there would be women gravitating, because they always are intrigued about a guy who ain't trying to push up on them and all of that. And that's just my personality. I'm not normally the type of guy that's trying to, I may strike up a conversation with women, but I'm not that thirsty dude who's always chasing them in the club and so forth. And I've noticed that a lot of them will gravitate. And again, I know a lot of you guys have experienced that too. In fact, this even translates online, because as you guys may be aware, and this wasn't even part of my plan when I decided to make this channel, but we get a lot of women watching our channel. Just to let you know, I kind of opened up with an example of a woman who's definitely a fan of the channel, and to the point where she sent me numerous emails. But yeah, whether they are in agreement with what we talk about, or even if they're disagreeing, specifically, depending on the topics, some of them you would find that 90% of our viewers happen to be women, and I do get a lot of women who are following the channel. Sometimes they're scared to leave comments or to make themselves known when they're coming through the lives, but make no mistake about it, those women are definitely in the building, they're in the house. I know for a fact, so I'm just letting you guys know. So contrary to what might be going on in the beta or even the alpha spheres, um, even though specifically the betas, they'll make content that will pander to women, kiss their butt and all that stuff, and they can't pay women to go over there to, even agree or disagree. But when I made this particular channel, it was to get, and again, I'm not opposed to women, definitely want them over here. And I appreciate the lady writers as well, because there's some women who are introverts as well, and they just kind of, their personalities kind of, you know, seem to blend well with what we talk about as well. So, but again, my core audience and the people that I was targeting was the Sigma guys. But I guess a consolation gift is the fact that there's I would say, a disproportionate amount of women that have, I would say, subscribed and are followers of this channel. So he's also right on that point. But let's get it.
The alpha male wants all the women for himself. He hates it when their attention is drawn somewhere else. Although he cannot figure out what women find interesting in a boring Sigma male, he doesn't like it when the Sigma is around. 4. They are successful even without competition. An alpha male is all about competition. He needs competition to succeed because it is what motivates him. The alpha male.
He's doing a top 10, so we may not go through all 10, but I'm just trying to give you a nice little compare and contrast. And then we're going to move on to the next thing, because the next part of what I'm going to do is kind of break down in particular what makes this branch of being a Sigma over here at the Night Riders a little more unique. So let's get it.
Can go all out to take out his competition, but what happens when he faces a man who does not need competition to succeed? Well, that becomes a problem for the alpha man, because Sigmas are very successful, even if there's no one else to compare themselves to. Even if drawn to battle, Sigma males will let everything slide rather than take the bait. When the alpha sees that he cannot force the Sigma into a competition,
and again, I've been in situations like that, both on and offline. So I know exactly what this is, and I tend to fall back and just do what I need to do. And I know, and again, I know a lot of you guys operate the same way. So let's get it.
Success becomes meaningless, and he will hate the Sigma for it. Now the Sigma finds meaning in whatever he does, and he doesn't need anyone to tell him how good he is, so he will carry on doing what he loves to perfection. Instead of looking for people to compete with, he'll rather focus his time and energy on what he is already doing. This is something the alpha male cannot understand, so he will stay away.
Oh, and another thing I want to point out, that's how I even run this channel. You notice I'm not trying to do a lot of things to necessarily grow quickly. I know there's some things I could do to, go ahead and, I could talk about a lot of different things that I know would gather more people, a lot of less intellectual stuff, deal more with the gossipy stuff. And we touch on that here and there, but I don't tend to like to compromise my values too much to do anything. So what I would do is just kind of have a little bit of that while I can give the more tangible or the more important topics that we like to discuss. But I don't look at this YouTube thing as a competition. I look at it like people, they're free to do their thing. I'm not one of these guys that's gonna, try to micromanage, where people go or who you listen to. I don't care about that. I'm just doing what I do, and shout out to, people and how they run their channels. I don't see it as a competition. I don't see someone's gain as my loss. I don't look at the world as a zero sum where either I'm winning and that means you got to lose, or if you're winning, that means I'm losing. I just don't function like that. So I tend to kind of compete with myself, and I have specific goals. And again, I'm sure a lot of you guys can rock with that philosophy. And you'll notice there's a lot of guys who have the opposite mentality. They look at what other people are doing. They kind of they're always kind of lurking around, seeing what everybody else is doing, pocket watching and all that kind of stuff. Look, I don't have time for that. I don't have anything to prove. I could come on here stunting and showing off stuff, showing videos of you know where I live and all that kind of stuff. I don't believe in doing that. Maybe on Patreon I might show a little bit more of that type of stuff, but when it comes to this YouTube thing, I just look at it as it's enough room for everybody. And so I think that was a good point that this particular broadcaster made when he talked about the fact that as Sigmas, we don't see everything as a competition, as opposed to some of the alphas or other people, other personality types. So let's get it.
From the Sigma male completely. 5. They do not take orders. Apart from not following rules, Sigma males also don't like taking orders. Unlike beta males that need to be told what to do, Sigma males don't want to be told what to do, especially from an alpha male. They are their own person and would rather do what pleases them. This is something alpha males cannot live with. Alpha men live by dishing out orders. They are always intimidating and want everyone to follow their orders without questions. Alphas are the masters of control.
And again, I'm not saying I agree with everything in this video, because I think it depends, because not all alphas are the same, just like not all sigmas are the same, which is kind of going to tie into my next point when we start breaking it down as far as what the Night Rider's lifestyle is as a function of the overall sigma mentality. But obviously there are some alphas who don't necessarily throw their weight around like that. So I think he's just being general, but it just makes a larger point. You may see more of that personality type with the alphas as opposed to us sigmas. But I just wanted to point that out. But let's get it.
They will do whatever it takes to figure out a person's weakness. But when they come across a Sigma male, all their tricks become useless because Sigma is a master of his own. Sigma men know the system and refuse to follow it anyways. Taking orders is not something they want because they know they are equally equipped as the person giving them. This is another reason that makes it difficult for both of them to work together. 6. They are unpredictable. The fact that Sigma males are unpredictable makes it difficult for alpha males to handle them. The alpha sees a pattern in everyone and everything, which is why he manages to stay ahead.
Yeah, Shadow, unfortunately, that's true. A lot of alpha males do tend to be very insecure, and that's why a lot of them, with that extrovert personality, they like to kind of, be out front, showing you what they're doing, beating their chest. And that's cool. I'm not knocking that. I'm not saying it's bad, because I like to toot my horn as well sometimes, but I'm more covert. I'm not the type of guy that wants to show you everything. I would like to help people behind the scenes and just do that, as opposed to putting on front page news. If I go and save a lady, an old lady from a burning building, my goal was to help the lady. I didn't do it because for the gram or because I wanted it to be a hero on the front page of the news. If I, help somebody financially or something, I'm not going to go broadcasting it. Oh yeah, I bailed him out. I'm not going to do that. But sometimes you'll see that you'll get those people peacocking, and they just want to, they do good things just so they can brag about it, right? So I've never been that type of dude. I will be doing a lot of stuff behind the scenes, and I don't care about necessarily getting accolades. However, if it's known, or if someone else is starting to get accolades as if they did it, when I know I'm the one that did it, that's when I'm going to speak out. Because again, it's just like when I come up with certain phrases or things out here, and then all of a sudden it's all over the internet. I'm not doing that when I point it out for a phrase. I'm doing it because of justice, right? Just like for you guys or anybody else, if you come up with something, I want you to get credit. Which, before I forget, and I always shout them out when I do these MANalytics episodes, I didn't come up with the term MANalytics. It came from a guy by the name of Sir Ism. Shout out to him. I don't know if he's following the broadcast, but he was the first one I heard use that phrase MANalytics. I'm not sure if he came up with it, but I always like to give him credit when I do these broadcasts, because y'all know I come up with a lot of my own wordplay and things, so I have to distinguish when it's something that I did not create. And I did not come up with the term MANalytics. I heard it from another guy. Once again, his name was Sir Ism, and I just want to shout him out. And I decided to turn it into a series, and that's why we're doing this. But anyway, yeah, Shadow, you're right. That is with a lot of the alphas, there's a lot of insecurity behind that. So and then he says alphas will save her for the for the cat. Yeah, yeah. A beta, so I think that's more beta, to be honest. And I'm not sure about, because I think an alpha would want to, in principle, save the woman for that, but definitely the beta mentality or the simp mentality would be to do it not just for the fame, but for the cat as well. So I can agree with that. But let's get a little bit more.
But when it comes to the Sigma male, he doesn't know how to connect the dots. Comprehending someone as complex and unpredictable as a Sigma is something that the alpha male is yet to figure out. Inasmuch as the alpha would like to understand and control the Sigma, he cannot, so he has to move on to another person instead of chasing a lost cause. Meanwhile, the Sigma male has the alpha all figured out. He knows how the alpha male operates, so he will keep the alpha off his back. Also, since the alpha knows that the Sigma intentionally pays no attention to him, it will hurt his pride and eventually make him dislike the presence of the Sigma male. 7. They are silent leaders. Apart from the fear of being replaced, the alpha male hates to share his position as a leader with anyone else. Sigma males can come in handy and can be very dependable when needed. In such a case, they will easily outshine the alpha male in the room. Alpha males hate to be in the shadows, always wanting to be the center of everyone's attention, but they cannot do everything alone. Whenever they fall short,
And again, I mean, this is a broad definition, because there may be some alphas that can work, behind the scenes as well. Although, from what I've seen, most alphas, they tend to kind of like to lead from the front, and they definitely want the accolades and the praise that comes along with that. Whereas those of us who fall under the Sigma sphere, we just want to get the job done. We don't necessarily need all the accolades. That's nice, and we don't shy away from that, but we prefer to get the job done, right? I've been in so many situations like that you would not believe, where there was a guy who was an alpha who was involved in something, and for whatever reason, he couldn't get it done, and things were left to me, and I went and got the job done. And there created some tension there, and especially when there's an age gap, because I've been in situations where there's an older guy and an older alpha guy. I was the younger guy up and coming. He had all kinds of issues, thinking I was trying to replace him, and that's a whole nother conversation. But I definitely relate to the conversation that we're having as far as uh, dealing that dynamic between alphas and sigmas. But let's get it.
only person that can easily replace them is the Sigma male. Sigmas have the capacity to lead the pack even better than the alphas. Although the Sigma will never compete to be the leader, the alpha always feels threatened by his presence. Also, since the Sigma male has no actual position in the social hierarchy, the alpha male does not want him to disrupt the balance in the group. 8.
Yeah, but those are good. Yeah, we almost went through all of them, but for the sake of time, I think you guys get the gist of it. So let's get on to the next point. Now this is where it's starting to get fun, because we're going to show specifically how we work within this framework. And the question is, what is the Knight Rider type of Sigma man? Now, one thing that you may have noticed in a lot of the depictions, and even when it comes to film and movies, there's always a clearly defined character, right? When it comes to the white heroes and all that stuff. Just like, for example, you're all familiar with Sylvester Stallone, right? He's played both alphas and sigmas. He's played Rocky, which was a alpha guy, but he also played Rambo, which is a sigma, right? I'm sure you guys probably never thought of it like that, but I say that to say that a lot of times you'll see depictions of sigma guys. It is a rare type, but they're normally depicted as white. And we don't necessarily like to go overboard with the racial stuff. Not that we, don't touch on it because we do, but it tends to kind of get oversaturated with conversation. So we kind of like to look at things in the abstract a lot over here. But the thing that makes the Knight Rider sphere very important in terms of the conversation when it comes to sigmas is that a lot of guys that are black, like a lot of the you guys who rock with me, and we do have some non-black guys who are rocking with us as well, but I'm just making this point as to kind of with precision give you the reason why I'm making a distinction when it comes to the Knight Rider lifestyle, is that oftentimes you'll see, again, whether it's in media and so forth, you'll see men of other races being able to have that broad spectrum of being alphas and sigmas. And typically with black men, you'll either see them depicted, as alphas for them, or betas. You'll see equal parts alpha and beta when it comes to black men. Correct me if I'm wrong. I know you guys probably never thought of that, but whether it's in media or whether it's in media coverage, you'll see basically those two extremes. You will see the hyper masculine black guy who is often depicted as an alpha, right? That's where that whole toxic masculinity came from. Those are typically it's basically the demonization of the alpha black man, right? That's that whole toxic masculinity. And then of course you have the beta black men. You often see those type of personality types. You very rarely see an accurate depiction of a sigma black man. There are some. Like I said, I think one example would be, maybe Blade. But again, we're talking about fictional characters, right? But in terms of, you know, typical movies or, certainly uh, the way black men are depicted in the media, by and large, you will see either the demonization of an alpha black man or the promotion of a beta black man. Normally, one of a moist or sassy persuasion. You'll see those type of black men, but you very rarely see the sigma black man. So the Knight Riders, those of us who rock with this particular mentality over here, we are that rare sigma black man that you don't see. We can be in any given situation seen as leaders, the quiet, strong type, but we also can be appealing to ladies. So a lot of times, if they look at a guy who's introverted that happens to be black, the only category, because they won't put him in the alpha, because alphas tend to be extroverts, but they'll make him a beta. So normally when a black man is introverted, they'll automatically put him as a beta, right? Or he's like some type of nerd, or he's not really all that masculine, and they'll contrast him with the alpha black man. But again, they don't show the type of personality type that's a black man who can be more reserved, less out there as an extrovert, but he's still quietly getting the job done. Oh, another person that I think often gets depicted kind of as a sigma is Denzel Washington. So I'm not sure how he is in real life, but I almost forgot about the fact that he played, and that's part of his appeal because he's one of those few black actors who is depicted as a sigma. One example is the Book of Eli. I really love that movie. I think a lot of you guys who rock over here, you've probably seen it as well. The Book of Eli, and many of his other movies. I think probably I would argue that the vast majority of his movies, he may have been playing Sigma guys. People probably have never, framed it like that, and they may have mistook him for an alpha. But a lot of those particular depictions that he's done, at least in some of the movies, I haven't watched a lot of his recent movies. I think I saw one of those Equalizer movies. They're kind of funny. He's an old guy still, kicking ass. So it's kind of funny. But I think even in the Equalizer, he played a Sigma. But the Book of Eli for sure. Will Smith, even though we know he's really a beta, I think in that movie I Am Legend, at least towards the when he was alone, in the way that he had to function, he was functioning as a Sigma for all intents and purposes. So they do sprinkle it in here and there, although they're not going to label it the way I just did. But for the most part, as I said, you're only going to see black men depicted as either those toxic alphas as they try to depict them, or those betas, those watered down betas. But very rarely, especially on a societal level, do black men get associated with being Sigmas. And there's some specific reasons for that, because obviously there's a lot of uniqueness, and there's a lot of characteristics that we have that they don't necessarily want to be associated with black men for obvious reasons. Although history is littered or full of examples of real life black men who were actual Sigmas. Some of you may be familiar with Bass Reeves, who was like one of the greatest U.S. Marshals in history. I was actually going to do a broadcast dealing with a lot of these hidden heroes that, in history, you may have thought they were white men, but because a lot of people don't even realize Bass Reeves was a black man, and all these other great men, the first cowboys were black men, all that kind of stuff, right? So there's this whole hidden history of guys who were black men and who were, alphas and sigmas throughout history, who did all kind of incredible heroic things, but they are, they've been kind of whitewashed, and and it's crazy. So that's the reason why you don't see as many depictions. Even a character like Batman, which we know is a fictional character. However, the concept of Batman is based on African thought, because if you go back to ancient Egypt or Nubia, we realize that you had the sun deities, and then you had the deity of the night, which Superman was a representation of the sun deity, and then you had Batman, which was a representative of the dark deity, and that's where Bob Kane, the person who came up with Batman, and they would get a lot of their information to make these superheroes out of black culture. Case in point, I'm sure you guys may have heard about this. Stan Lee, the guy who came up with the X-Men, he literally got the concept of Professor X and Magneto from Malcolm X and Martin Luther King, and that dichotomy between the two, right? Because you got Professor X, who's the more integrationalist, and then you got the Magneto character, who is the more militant type. So that whole thing, and I believe Stan Lee even admitted himself that was his concept, and he got it essentially from black culture. So when you take and that's the reason why you see my my avatar here, you got the character Batman, right? Or the Dark Knight with a black man's face, which is more historically appropriate, because like I said, the character himself comes out of black thought, comes out as a black man's concept. And so many other heroes throughout history, real or fictional, were created by black men in particular. So I just wanted to point that out. But when it comes to the Knight Rider type of Sigma man, it's the association of the Sigma characteristics that you don't see normally depicted on black men. That's what the Knight Rider concept is. It's that we can talk about certain things, we can be involved in certain things, and that's the reason why the production style that I do over here is the way it is the way it is, because you don't see a lot of people making some of the references that we make over here. We may reference anime or a lot of different stuff, and that we'll put together, which a lot of Sigma guys, and I know a lot of you guys who rock with us, you use a lot of different avatars. We got like Commando Spawn, shout out to him. You got the Spawn character, which is a black character. Shadow Zulu, of course. I'm not sure what that is. That I think that's the alien symbol. You could correct me if I'm wrong, but that looks like that the alien on that alien computer brand. I'm not sure, but I like it, Shadow. I like your avatar. And we got so many of you other guys, that rock with us. You have these different avatars that represent those heroes or those that kind of artsy, um, creative type thing that a lot of times, only yeah. Okay, so I was right. I thought it looked familiar. Salute, bro. Yeah, thanks for letting me know. But yeah, but you'll see a lot of us will make these types of references, right? So I might throw out some stuff about some obscure reference about some, like I said, some animation or some, something from the 80s or 90s or whatever. And I love when people are able to pick up on it because that is the type of Renaissance men that we are. And we're interested in it. You see the type of music, we play over here. It's not just hip hop, we play, just like a lot of you may have not known, I was a fan of Lionel Richie, with the opening theme, right? And I'm shout out to Shadow Zulu, he's been active in the building. um, he pointed out that was a Lionel Richie song, and we like a lot of different things. So the Night Rider lifestyle essentially is the application of the Sigma male and the characteristics of that Sigma male being applied to black men, which normally it's not. You very rarely see, um, even when they do these depictions of the traditional Sigma man, he's normally depicted as a white guy, which I would argue that the majority of Sigma men, at least as a percentage, were probably black men. And I got several things that I can point to to prove that. But anyway, I think that you guys should get the gist of what I was saying with that, and that's the reason why it's very important. I feel to continue to rock with this space. Let us continue to grow. I want to bring in other guys who are of our ilk, who have the type of mentality, because I know they're out there. They just haven't found our space yet. So this whole thing was set up for the benefit of the guys like us who are underrepresented. And as it pertains to our talking points, as far as pushing back against the propaganda, the angles that we take and the talking points that we take are those of Sigma men. And that's the reason why it's so difficult for a lot of people to kind of push back and deconstruct what we do. And that's why this is the home of the dissections, because the way that I approach breaking down people's arguments is from a Sigma philosophy, right? Well, I don't necessarily do the things that I do because I have an alpha outlook, or certainly not a beta outlook. I'm not necessarily doing it because I want to rebuild something that's already broken, i.e., the black community, as some people might frame it, the Keisha community, as it were. I point out the things to show that who's the real culprit, and how a lot of the problems that are going on have been created by the betas, along with the Keishas, and to some extent the alphas. I think the sigmas, those of us who are Sigma, we probably had the least to do with the condition of the black community. So we're in a moral superior position to point it out. I would say even more so than those other groups, such as, we're going to get into that shortly, contrasting us with the manosphere, the other pills, and so forth, and how we differ. I think that we are solely capable of criticizing what's been going on with little to, well, relatively less to do with the destruction of the community. So I think that that's part of the reason why people have a hard time trying to deconstruct our positions. And that leads me to my third point here, and that is, what is the Pillbox strategy, and how does it compare with others in the following three areas? Now, before I even get into that, I have something that I'm going to show you guys that I created back on my other channel, which kind of is like a nice little short teaser to kind of give, because and I was talking about this before, this is a couple of years ago. So I'm glad I had the opportunity now to flesh it out a little bit more, because I kind of foreshadowed that I was going to do that. So I'm going to play you guys this video that I created on my other channel, which was to tell the audience that I had over there, which I hope a lot of them, which I feel they did, have migrated over here as well. but they will be familiar with this video. And those of you who have may not seen it, then this will be good information for you as well. So I'm going to show you this, and this is me explaining a little bit about what the pillbox strategy is, and then I'm going to elaborate a little further. So let me get this loaded up for you here. Okay, here we go.
Many of you should be familiar with the terms red pill and blue pill, and there are a number of variations to this concept, such as...
Excuse the mic. I think I was that was my old mic. It was a good mic, but it sounded a little bit more I don't know, like I was too close to the mic or something. I don't know, but I'm on a different mic now, so excuse the audio. But let's go.
The purple pill, black pill, and the real pill. Shout out to my brother Black Ram 313. But I want to introduce a new concept to this lexicon that I call the pillbox. Now I'm not talking about this kind of pillbox, but this kind of pillbox.
Now, to be sure, you know, I do want to make it clear that I like the double entendres, but for the purposes of that particular video, I was focusing on the other concept. But there is a concept that I, you know, will use that type of pillbox because it is that utilitarian idea that in any given situation, if a red pill works, then we'll use that, or a black pill or whatever. Then we'll draw from it. But we have a whole different philosophy, and that's what I mean when we talk about the pillbox strategy. But I'm going to get into the more the broader sense that I was talking about before. So let me get that real quick.
This kind of pillbox, but this kind of pillbox. And a pillbox is a military fort that has been used in wars to protect troops from overwhelming odds. And in later videos, I'm going to get into more depth with regard to this concept and what some of the terminology means. Now, many of you should also be familiar with Kevin Samuels, and he had a term that he used called no man's land. And this term no man's land is actually a military concept, and it comes from trench warfare. And as you can see in the top right, I circled what no man's land is. And in trench warfare, it's the place in which you don't want to go because you will be mowed down by the enemy. Now, under Kevin's concept, is the term is used for women who have reached a certain age and they are not able to get men because they're over their most fertile years. In this particular concept, as it relates to trench warfare, it shows a place that no man wants to be because he's fortifying himself against that. And a lot of the women now are in that no man's land, not just in terms of their fertility, but in terms of the dangers that are coming that a lot of men foresee, and they've begun to fortify themselves. But in later videos, we're going to address this concept. Stay tuned.
Okay, so yeah, that was just me kind of, you know, putting out a little bit of information about it. But again, just to go a little bit deeper on that concept, essentially what I was referring to was the fact that part of this concept of the pillbox is that you guys are planning to fortify yourself, whether it be, you know, in another country, and you are positioning yourself from the things to come, you know, the things that we talk about, such as, you know, being prepared, looking at the political situation. You know, there's just been a strike, you know, over there in the so-called Middle East, right? I know you guys have been following that, and then we're just waiting for the other countries. I don't want to drop the countries' names because, you know, that's a whole nother topic, and that's not what we're talking about tonight. But you guys are very astute. You know what's going on. I know what's going on, and we do definitely talk about those things. But as I mentioned before, we're going to need to start bringing some of those conversations, you know, behind the scenes, such as on Patreon. And, you know, I'm putting together a whole bunch of other new material that we're going to be putting over there. So, if you're not rocking with us over there, you're going to want to in the near future, especially as things unfold, because they're getting hypersensitive to talk about certain topics. So, we've been kind of keeping it, a little lighter than we used to for that reason. But, we're going to be going hard, over there on Patreon. Now, we talk about these things and we also talk about preparing. And the pillbox strategy is, like I mentioned in that video that I just showed you, is kind of like a fort. It's not a physical fort, but it's your situation. So whether you are putting yourself in the optimum position if you're there in the States, even though there are those of us who believe that nowhere there would be optimal, but due to whatever your financial situation is or your family situation, it may not be conducive for you to leave. So we have to understand that. So it's about optimizing your position, making sure you're in your kind of your fort situation, while simultaneously being able to take the shots that you need to take, to push back at some of the things that are going on. Like, for example, the way I utilize the pillbox strategy is that even though I don't physically reside currently in the US, I keep my eyes on what's going on there and how it's going to reverberate around the world and up to and including the place that I'm at. And I also like to push back, just like if you envision someone sitting in a fort and they got the little the what do you call it? The view where you can see. In fact, I got an illustration. Let me show you this, because I always like to illustrate what I say when possible. So I'm going to show you guys an example of what I mean. I'm going to give you a view from inside of a pillbox, one of these forts. It's just a little quick video, but I think it'll help illustrate the point I'm making. So let me give you this real quick. Okay, so this is some pillboxes that, from I think World War II, and as you can see, the field of vision, right? So he's in the pillbox. It's heavily secured, discreet, camouflaged, what have you, but you got a very good field of view, and that's the concept that I want you guys to have when it comes to your pillbox strategy. Whether you're in the States, I prefer to find a place that's more safe than even there. Shout out to Shadow. He says, Knight Rider is inside on underground bunker right now. Hey, Shadow, you might be right. You might be right. I may be live from a bunker right now. But anyway, this is the view. If you look at it. So you see that very good field of view. But look at it's heavily defended, right? And then you have that little field of vision where you can see. And that's the illustration of what we do over here when it comes to the pillbox strategy. So, like I said, using myself as an example, I'm not there, but I got that field of view, just like I can, online. I'm looking at everything that's going on, and I'm able to strategically pinpoint my shots. Just like if you imagine somebody who got a rifle and a scope, and they got their opposition over there, they can pick them off, and with little to no danger to themselves, right? Because they have the element of surprise, the element of stealth, and that's what I mean. And again, that goes into that double entendre of it being the pillbox in terms of the protective, defensive mechanism, as well as if you want to apply it to utilizing whatever other pills that you choose to use at any given moment. So again, we over here, this is not a cult. This is not I'm not telling you guys you just got to be over here, you can't go nowhere else. No, go wherever you need to go. Utilize whatever strategies you can from whoever you can, but put it all in your utility belt and utilize it as needed. So that's what makes what we do over here very unique, because like I said, it's more like a software as opposed to a hardware that some people want to bog you down with a hardware, say, well, no, you just need to have our brand, you just got to use our computer. I don't do that over here. I don't care where you guys go, just rock over here when you can. I appreciate when the Night Riders, whenever they can show up for the lives. If not, I'll see you in the comment section or whatever. It's all good. But the way we utilize these strategies over here is that you can incorporate whatever thing that works best at any given moment. But from the standpoint of using a pillbox strategy, it's like this, where you're in this little pillbox like this, and you can see how well protected that is. But yeah, so anyway, yeah, I just wanted to use that as an illustration to the point of what I was saying. And shout out to Shadow Zulu saying that I'm inside of underground bunker. Well, maybe not at the moment, but at some point in the future, who knows? I may have to be doing these lives from a bunker, depending on what exactly is going on. And again, I'm sure you guys are following the news just like I am, and that's part of the reason why you want to utilize these type of strategies. Now, let's get down into the nitty gritty, right? And I think you guys should have a good idea. There is deeper, we can go further, but I want to get into the compare and the contrasts. But I think that's a good overview of the pillbox strategy. And now we're going to get into the how it compares to others in the following three areas. Now, let's deal with travel, because a lot of people erroneously confuse us with passport bros. And I think that most recently, Exoticals United, who's probably listening right now or will be listening to the playback, salute. Uh, she erroneously framed me as a passport bro, which is incorrect. And we broke it down in the past, and we made it very clear. And I'm not the only night rider to whom this applies, but many of us have been traveling long before there was ever such thing as a quote passport bro. So when it comes to travel, this is not only something that we're doing for recreation, it's also tied into our overall pillbox strategy. Because like I said, currently, if those of us who are not in the States, we're still taking our shots from long range, dealing with issues that are going on in the States, making sure that they don't permeate, such as the feminism and everything that's going on. Some of us live in countries where that's not an issue, at least not right now. So a lot of us giving pushback in conjunction with us defending our image, because we don't like how propaganda has been used to distort the image of black men. And that's the reason why as I said earlier, we want to make it clear that the Sigma style is also something that's very prevalent with black men, but you very rarely, if ever, see it identified as such. Once again, we either depicted as overly toxic, masculine, as they like to frame it. I don't think there's a such thing as toxic masculinity, but that's how they want to frame it. The ultra masculine black man, or the beta male. They very rarely, if ever, show the sigma, because by definition you'd have to show all of these positive attributes that we have as sigmas that they don't necessarily want black men to be identified with. They'll prefer to have white men, even though they'll show white betas and white alphas. They typically only like to depict white sigmas. So that's one of the reasons why, as night riders, we want to make sure that we create this narrative that we exist, and that we may be a lot more common than people may think. Even though overall sigmas are rarer than the alphas and certainly the betas, but we are in larger numbers as black men who are sigmas than has been depicted. So when it comes to the travel piece, yeah, many of us, and I think travel, Shao Zulu, you've probably been traveling longer than me. Yeah, like he said traveling since '88 before PBB. Yeah, so you even got me beat as far as that. Um, because I think you said you were even traveling internationally. I mean, I was traveling at a young age. I was a kid, way back then. But I mean, I don't count when I was traveling with parents or things like that. I'm talking about traveling on my own. So I've been definitely doing that for over 20 years. But obviously there was no such thing as a passport bro back then. And I'm not knocking the passport bros. I'm not taking anything away from that. But I'm just saying that over here, we encompass a whole nother reason for traveling. It's not just to go and get women, although that's not a bad reason to travel. I'm not knocking. I'm not one of these guys who are going to judge people whether you're doing pay for play or whatever. That's on you. Um, all I'm saying is that as a night rider, and those of us who are looking at the big picture, travel is for recreation, but it's also for salvation, in the sense of looking at the best position to be in. Going back to the pillbox strategy, strategic relocation, being in a place, in a country that's conducive to the lifestyle that you want to live, that has the tax structure that you want, the population, the all of the stuff that you feel that's better for you. And we're all about finding those particular locations, no matter where they are. If it happens to be in the States for some of you, okay, fine. I don't see how that could be possible, specifically as things continue to unfold with the rising inflation and everything that's going to be going on, because it's going to get worse, make no mistake about it. But it's just about being in your most optimum position no matter where you are, and that's what we're an advocate for. So we don't just look at travel as a means to get women. We look at travel as a means to enhance our life across the board. And I think it's very interesting because a lot of these women, they're so carnal in their mentality. The ones who try to criticize men for traveling, and they'll try to frame it like, oh, well, you can't get no woman in the States. You got to go over there with those dirty foot foreign women. Yeah, okay. Well, let's just say that's true, right? Let's say we're all dusty. We all look like Quasimodo. We all, I'm calling you not from the bunker, as Shadow Zulu said. I'm calling you live from my mama's basement, right? Even though I've been responsible for putting my mama in a house and, buying relatives' vehicles and stuff like that, even though, we're just going to put all that to the side. And let's just say, yeah, I'm calling you live from my mama's basement, right? And I just managed to scrape up enough pennies to be able to travel abroad because I couldn't get no broad in America. And let's just say that's true for all of us, particularly us night riders, right? Okay. So let's say we're all just dusty and we're bums and we just have to go overseas to get women because we can't get none in America. Okay, fine. What would be the issue with that? Aren't those women always talking about leveling up, going where they're appreciated and not tolerated? So why is it good for them to do it, but we can't do it? They never have an answer for this. Why is it that we have, okay, just say we're losers and we decided we can't, get the lifestyle we want, and we have to take advantage of, the weaker currencies and the weaker women in these other places because we're such losers, right? Okay, let's just say, again, that's true. This is a level up. So that means you should be in favor of us, number one, getting away from you because we're such losers. And on the other hand, we're leveling up, right? We're going somewhere, we're going more to our level. So why would that be an issue? They never have a correct answer for that. But we all know that that's a bunch of BS because many of you guys, you're successful. Some of you guys, I like Shadow Zulu. I believe he's in tech. I know Israel Young Lion is about to start a new job working for the city or something like that. A lot of you guys, you're doing well for yourself. You're probably good-looking guys. Probably all of that. You don't have any problems getting women, but they cannot fathom someone not willing to be there with them and that we're willing to go where we're gonna get the best offer, right? It's just like if you're in a city and they say you got enough money to go to a 5-star hotel or or Michelin 3 restaurant. Now, depending on where you happen to be at any given moment, or just say you want to, spend a night in a hotel somewhere, right? Or a motel or a hotel, right? And let's say there's a Holiday Inn or a Motel 6 right down the street, but or right around the corner to where you are. But there's a Ritz-Carlton 30 minutes away. I don't know about you, but I'm going to the Ritz-Carlton. I don't give a damn that the other one is cheaper and it's right down the street. I'm going to the Ritz-Carlton because if I got the money, I know what type of service I'm going to get. And I don't know if any of you have ever been there, but it's a beautiful place. So I will go there and I don't give a damn if it takes me 30 minutes or an hour. So that's the whole concept. It's not that you guys can't get women where you are or you can't get accommodations where you are. Is that you don't mind traveling to get what's conducive to your taste. And that's the part they don't understand or they don't want to understand. Shout out to Shadow. He says they don't want you, but they don't want anyone else in another country to want you either. Yeah, so again, that's their problem. So that doesn't mean you have to hobble yourself to acquiesce to anybody, right? But again, this whole false narrative, and that's the type of trope that they use against the passport bros, but it doesn't work as well against us night riders because, again, many of us were traveling before there was any of that. We didn't have to travel to get women. We wanted a higher quality. We wanted better looking women, and it just so happens that they are less demanding, and they have better attitudes. So those are bonuses. So again, just using like my example of someone going across town to a Ritz Carlton as opposed to the Holiday Inn or Motel 6 down the street. Yeah, it may take more time to get to that Ritz Carlton, but guess what? That's what I'm going to do if I got the money. So that's the difference. But again, not knocking the passport bros. We just, a lot of you guys who are over here, you're more seasoned in your travels experiences. You have a wide range of reasons that you travel, and a lot of the way that the passport bros have been pigeonholed in terms of why they're traveling, it just doesn't apply to us. So that's the difference between the night rider lifestyle and why we travel compared to the passport bro. Now let's get into the next fun subject, the money issue, right? And shout out to those of you who saw our classic money talk, which was ironically the previous episode of the MANalytics. It was episode 5. If you have not seen that, I highly recommend going to check it out. Although it's not for financial advice, there's a lot of great nuggets in there. Those of you who are familiar, I have worked in the financial industry. That was my career for 20 years. I've since retired from that, but I am definitely highly qualified to talk about money issues. Although, disclaimer, not to give you advice, consult with your own financial advisor that's more familiar with your particular situation. Although, if those of you want to reach out to me through email and share some things about your life, I'll be more than happy. I've had people do that before, telling me a little bit more about their situation that you may want to share publicly. If you can shoot me an email, I'll be more than happy to help you out. But that's something that I just needed to make clear. As it pertains to the difference between the night rider or just say crypto investors, or a lot of you guys rocking with people in crypto. Shout out to the crypto gang. We rock with other channels. However, the thing that separates the night rider mentality versus someone who's maybe strictly crypto or any other investment is that we don't care what you invest in. Like I said, I'm not here to micromanage your life. If crypto works for you, do that. I told you what my preference was and what got me the most money, and that was real estate. I'm a very big proponent of real estate and also commodities. I like crypto too, but again, I'm a little older than some of you guys, so a lot of you may be um, more heavily involved in crypto, and a lot of you may know more about crypto than me, and that's fine. So again, whatever works for you. My point is that you utilize, based on your position, whatever's going to give you the most optimum results, and you use that to your advantage. And you stack your money, and it ties into all the other stuff that we're talking about in terms of repositioning yourself and getting yourself that lifestyle and living where you want to live. That's going to get you the best, safest, and most productive life possible. So, and then Shadow putting his out there, ISO. Yeah, that's his crypto of choice. And salute. Because like I said, I believe Shadow, you're more of a tech guy, so I'm sure you know a lot more about crypto than I do. However, I'm very much familiar with all the other types of investments, such as commodities, um, real estate, stocks. So, and as I said, if you're not seeing the Money Talk, which was episode 5 of this series, go check it out. But essentially, that's what separates the night rider lifestyle versus, say, crypto, or other types of investments. We're not just a one-trick pony. I believe in learning as much as you can that's going to facilitate the lifestyle. Because what I've noticed over my years of investing and in being involved in things is that you never know what's going to hit. So just make sure that you have the diversification in your portfolio that you could touch on certain things. I remember one time I invested with some of you guys that are really, really astute may be familiar with Peter Schiff, and he has his investment branch is called Euro Pacific Capital, And I remember right around the time when I was deciding I was going to leave the States, I had kind of put some money into one of his funds, and he had like, it was a very diverse fund, and it had a bunch of startup companies, and he's kind of really anti-crypto if you listen to him. But to be honest, I wish I had invested like 10 grand or something in some Bitcoin back in the day, because when they were selling it for like $2, I remember when it first came out, but I was like, that's like some Mario coin stuff or whatever. But I should have just put at least 10K in it, and I would have, I mean, it would have been crazy. But anyway, but I did invest some stuff with Peter Schiff, and he was doing like a fund that had a bunch of foreign stocks, on the Hong Kong market and so forth. And I made like 40% return, and it was crazy. And I didn't expect it to do as well, because it was just something that, because I liked the way he was talking. I would see him, and he had predicted the mortgage crisis and all that. So, and then I was talking to one of his representatives, and I said, okay, yeah, I'll he showed me the mix of the funds. I said, okay, well, that looks good. So I went ahead and invested, and I got like I said, like a 40% return in less than a year. It was crazy, and I did not even expect that. And shout out to Israel Young Lion. He says definitely on the crypto timing. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's all about timing. And Israel says, I'm invested in Brett. And what is that exactly? I know XRP, but like I said, a lot of you guys are more adept in crypto, because like I said, I'm more invested in, commodities and in real estate and things like that. So a lot of you guys, and again, I'm not against crypto. I'm not one of these crypto haters. I'm for a lot of you bros who found something that you feel is going to help you come up, and I'm all for it. Because I know there's a disproportionate amount of brothers who are into crypto, right? And that's why Kamala wanted to pander to you about the crypto, right? So shout out to y'all. But what Israel, what is Brett? I don't know if I'm familiar with that one. If you want to share what that is, but I know about XRP though. And then Israel says, Shadow, who likes me? Oh, you missed it. Were you in the building? Oh, you don't know what we're talking about? Okay, let me briefly bring you up to speed, Israel. I got a bunch of emails from this lady named Marie. She sent me like 15 emails, and she was, I guess she's an exotical ablation or whatever. I don't know. Marie, if you're listening, you probably are. Or if you get this playback, if I got your identity wrong, okay, I'm not going to say your full name, but I'll just call you Marie the Blasian. She was, sending me a bunch of emails, and she's telling me that I'm, she has, I guess, an issue with my 80% 2x4 standard, 2 parents, 4 grandparents. And she brought you up. She said, well, you giving your boy Israel Young Lion a pass. He said he got some mixture in his background. So I said, well, I already told her that she could call up or at least come to the chat, because she wants me to read all these emails, because I invited her on the show. And she didn't, she kept saying, well, first you read my emails and then we'll talk about it. I'm like, well, ma'am, I'm very busy. I allocate this particular time to talk about these type of things on this platform. That's the reason why I give sometimes up to 4 hours, even though those are rare occasions. I prefer to keep it around 2 under 3 hours. But, that's why I allocate this time per week, so that you could do that. I don't have time to spend hours reading through your emails. So she pretty much she brought you up, and that's how your name came up, Israel. You in particular was like, well, you giving your boy Israel a pass, and he said he got some admixture. So again, it's not about me giving a pass. It just depends on if you fall within the 80%, 2 black parents, 4 black grandparents. That's all. It don't matter if you rocking with me like Israel, whoever. It's just the standard, right? But anyway, Israel, that's what they were talking about. I thought you were in the building when I first brought it up, because I figured you probably would have been saying something, but I think you had to. I think you had to step out at that time. He said, "Man, one of your fans." He said, "Shadow Zulu." Hey, Shadow Zulu, you got some fans too. There's a woman that brought you up, Shadow, while you're over there talking. If you go over to my video, let me see, what video is it? Go to the video. Let me see if I can pull it up. Somebody in the comment section brought you up, Shadow. Let me remember which video it was. Hold on. It was one of our more recent ones. So I gotta put you on the spot too, Shadow, while you over there talking about Israel. So it was on. Let me see. Which one was it? Okay, I think it was. Let me. I think it's this one right here, the one we did about the hair. I think it's this one. Hold on. Am I right? I think it's the one. Yeah, yeah, that's the one. Go to the one that I did against where I was talking about that the girl from England, um, Coley, and it's the one that's titled "Black Men Hate 4C Hair on Black Women." And there was a one in the comment. This lady, she said, also your boy Shadow Zulu proved unambiguous black women's point because his fave women are South African and East African women. East Africans are primarily exoticals. And what else she say? And many South African women are too like Tila or Tyla, that South African chick. Most unambiguous black women are of West African descent. So my response to her, and I don't know if you saw this comment, Shadow, but my response to her was, "Well, thanks for the breakdown." Because she also gave me a breakdown of all the hair textures, because I admitted I didn't know all of them. So she gave me a breakdown of all that, and I said, "Well, thanks for all the breakdown of the hair textures." And I said, although Shadow Zulu is very capable of speaking for himself, are you going to ignore the fact that he said that he prefers natural hair, including 4C? To which he did not respond. So your name came up too, Shadow. So go and look at that video. And if you want to respond to that lady, you are free to do so. So I just wanted to let you know. And then let me see what you guys are saying. Oh, yeah, he says, stop to Shadow. He said, I'm a shadow figure. He said, and say, I fit the standard of 2 black parents and 4 black grandparents. I figured you did. I don't know what she was talking about. But I guess she brought out the fact that on one of your appearances you mentioned that there's some admixtures. I think maybe it was one of your great grandparents or something, which is fine. But yeah, that you were still following the standard. And Shadow says, Is she from the Zulu tribe?" I don't know, man. Maybe you can make her part of the tribe. But she's been over here a couple of times. I think her name is Baby Love. But yeah, if you go look at that comment, she brought you up. So if you want to respond, I think I answered it, as best I could in terms of, I said, well, I'm not speaking for you and you can speak for yourself. But you did say, when, your comments, you mentioned that you prefer natural hair. Among that is 4C. So I did hit her with that and she has not responded. And that's been about, almost a month. So, or about a month. So yeah, if you want to go over there and, set her straight, Shadow, you are welcome to do so in the comment section. And then Israel says she's mad because I got the little bit of Syrian and French in my blood. Oh yeah, you know what? She did mention that. She said, "Yeah, your boy Israel. He said he got some Syrian." And like I pointed out, if you did that ancient DNA test and you would cross-reference to some Syrian blood, those could have been ancient black people too, because the ancient Syrians were black too. So that doesn't mean she's thinking that it's the current, the people that's over there now, which are not part of the ancient Syrians that were there. So she's wrong on that point too. But anyway, he said if she knew my favorite South African women are from the coast, Khoisan, Zoza, and Zulu, not the colored like Tila. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, you need to tell her that if you want. But that's kind of what she was saying. Israel said, bunch of chicken-headed broads. West Africa is diverse, and still nobody defines what the fuck a West African is. Yeah, exactly. And then, like I pointed out before, I said, you're talking about the Horn of Africa, which is a miscegenation zone, and then you have a bunch of East Africans in Tanzania, Uganda, Zimbabwe, all of that. You can't tell them different. A lot of them are Bantu. They look just like West Africans. So it's all ignorance. But anyway, that's a whole nother subject. But getting back to what I was saying as far as the differences between the Knight Rider strategy or lifestyle versus other monetary strategies such as the crypto, which again, we rock with the crypto. A lot of you guys are crypto investors, part of the crypto gang and all of that. That's cool. We're not knocking that, but over here, it's not mutually exclusive. You can do whatever is conducive that's going to get you to the lifestyle you want to live. And that's, the strategy that I happen to use was real estate and commodities. I wish because I was right there in doing some good investing when crypto first came out, when Bitcoin came out, and I definitely could have put a nice little chunk into that. And I wish I had, because we know where it's sitting now. Because I remember when it was like what, $3 or whatever. But because I was so set in my ways, with the real estate and other stuff, I had a little money to spare. To even though I was, I had a lot of investments and other things, I could have put something into some Bitcoin back in the day, and I didn't do it. So that's on me. But a lot of you guys are determined not to make that same mistake. So that's why you're heavily in crypto, and I say salute. But again, being a part of the Night Rider strategy is that it's like your utility belt. You're willing to put wherever you need to put into it that will work. If crypto gets you where you need to go, more power to you. If it's commodities, more power to you. If it's real estate, more power to you, or a combination of all. I say go for it. So that's pretty much how the Night Rider strategy works against crypto or any other philosophy, is that we don't knock any of it. We use it to whatever advantage we can that's going to yield us the result that we want. Let's move on to your favorite subject. I'm sure a lot of you guys, aside from the money, because I know you guys like that too, but let's deal with how the Night Rider lifestyle and mentality is juxtaposed to the pills. And we talked a little bit about it, in terms of the Pillbox strategy and so forth, but we're going to go a little deeper as it pertains to women. Yeah, so we're gonna get with that, but you know what? We've been kind of talking about all these strategies and stuff, and I have not given you guys any that for you for your viewing pleasure. And then we're gonna get into, appropriately so, how the Night Rider strategy uh corresponds or is different than these pills, manosphere, and the no Keisha zones, as it were. So let me give you a little bit of that to set the tone here. Let me see what I got for you guys. I'll pull out the little bag. See what I can, since we're talking about how many fans you guys got. Gonna pull out some of the little eye candy over here. So let me see what I got for you. Oh, I got some of these where these we came across this video where you ever see those women when they're putting on their pants or their clothes and they do that little jump. So I think that we may be hitting you guys with more of these, but let me know if you like this. Let's go. This might be something we're pioneering over here, but let's go.
So this is like an olive green color. Listen, do y'all see this length? Do y'all see the length? I'm about to.
Well, let me get that again, because when it first loaded, I don't know if you caught all of that. So let me give you a little bit more here. And that's part of the other thing about being a Night Riders, because remember, we're masculine men. We like looking at beautiful women. We like looking at shapely women. So that's part of it too. Even though we're not simps and we're not alphas, we don't break our necks to try to bend over backwards for women, but we do appreciate women, even though we're more reserved. But yeah, let me give you a little bit more of this. So you see that little twirl she did? She put on the clothes. So let me know if you guys want to see more of that.
So this is like an olive green color. Listen, do y'all see this length? Do y'all see the length? I'm about to put some shoes on, put on a little sunglasses.
Oh yeah, Iman Perry was like, still talking about Bitcoin. He said, "Shit, Bitcoin was under $1 when it first came out." Yeah, I saw it. It was like when I could have bought some, it was like at $2 or $3. But I chose not to because I was doing something else. But man, if I'd have put like 10K or something in that, my goodness. Yeah, and what did Iman say? He said there was a guy that bought pizza with 10,000 Bitcoins back in the day, worth billions now. Yeah, crazy. Iman, yeah, Shadow says Bitcoin was 1 cent in 2010. Yeah, I didn't know about it in 2010. I first saw it about 2013 or 2014. And that's when I was on my way kind of leaving the States. And then I was invested in some other stuff. But if I would have just took, I don't know, I could have threw easily 10K in that, man. That boy, it'd have been crazy. But anyway, and then he gives her 5. And then Shadow 5. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna give you another. I'm gonna give you probably about 2 or 3 more, and then we're gonna get into the comparisons. So let's get it.
Last little necklace. It's giving a girl.
So I just put it on here for this one right here, the little jump right there. But anyway, let's get another one. And then what did Shadow Zulu say? Yeah, 10K, you would have been a mega billionaire right now. Yeah, tell me about it. Because, man, but I didn't know. I see back then, I just thought it was a gimmick. You know, I didn't believe in it. I was like, oh, those are like Mario coins. You know, I was one of those guys, right? I was like Peter Schiff, you know, I was just so much into commodities and real estate. So I was one of those naysayers. Now, over time, I've learned to respect crypto a lot more. But back then, I was like, let me nothing but some Mario coins. And I was that dude, right? Boy, man, I wish I'd have, you know, thought differently. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. But you know what it is. But yeah, let me give you guys another one. Oh, you know what? Speaking of which, man, I keep forgetting to put this cross. And again, we're talking about, you know, successful in investment, and, you know, consider this an investment too. You know, you share the love. You guys want to contribute to the broadcast. You know, we put in heavy work over here. So I always forget to add that crawl, but there you go. But anyway, yeah, let me give you guys a little bit more eye candy over here. So you gave that one a 5. Let me see what you think about this one right here. You think about this one?
I see a woman every day in the mirror. I see a woman.
Yeah, I'll mute the little goofy music, but you can just look at the women. I know there's a bunch of them, so I don't know if you guys are just going to give individual numbers, but you know, just try to give you a little montage here. No, that one's fat. I didn't know she was there, guys. I apologize. I didn't see that one. The one that they just showed, that Big Bertha, I did not get that far in the video, so I do apologize for, you know, hurting your eyes with the Big Bertha that you saw. But yeah. But anyway, yeah, there you go. Just want to give you a little something right there. You know, so that's that one. I got this other one. This one's kind of funny. What did Israel say? He said they look nice, but I'm not into B devils no more. Okay, you know what, Israel? I got something for you, bro, because it's been a while. But you know, over here, we don't discriminate. You know, if it's a beautiful woman, we give credit where it's due. We have our preferences. Because even with me, I know what you're saying, Israel. You call them B devils, but I'm still phenotypically attracted to black women. But I don't deal with the ones that are westernized. That's my thing. Those are the ones that I can understand you being turned off from. But if you come across a nice, feminine, beautiful B dub, I'm sure you might, you know, be willing to deal with her. So I have a preference, but I do like exotic women and all that too. But I got this for you, bro. This, because you said that, Israel, I feel you. I understand. So I'm gonna see what you think about this one, Israel. This way, Israel. Yeah, y'all could chime in too. But this for you, Israel. Here you go. I know Israel like this right here. All right, Israel. Okay, Israel. So you're free to chime in, Israel. You know, Shadow was talking about the other women. He said natural hair 7, but yeah, he's talking about the other women. He said I like Moroccan. I don't know what she is. You fair to guess? She could be Indian, Arab. I don't know, but let me know what you think, Israel. If you. He said, what did he say? Oh, yeah, now we talking. I figured you like that, Israel. I'll play it again for you, Israel. Here we go. I figured that'd be something you wanted. And what Shadow say? He said, give Israel Lion them Somalian babes. Yeah, okay. I'll put together a nice dossier for that for him. So yeah, I'll let this run through for him, and then I got another one for you guys.
I got something on my mind. Nowhere else, no. Take me downtown.
All right, so yeah, there you go, Israel. Yeah, I'll throw some of those in the mix for you. Because like I said over here, that's another strategy with the Night Riders is that, hey, what works for you? You understand? We got preferences, but everybody's preferences are different. Yeah, this one's funny. I think you guys, even though this is a BW Israel, I think you're gonna like this one because this is actually kind of funny. So I'm gonna play this. Let me know what you guys think of this. But let me play this for you. Well, first, what Israel say? He says, "No more East Africans for me, please." Really? So I mean, I thought Ethiopia was your second home. So what happened, bro? So you ain't going to Ethiopia no more? He said, "No more. I'm too traumatized." Damn, what happened, bro? Do tell. I mean, we might have to have you back on the panel again, and we have to be talking, sharing war stories or something, bro. That sounds like an interesting situation. You're gonna have to, come on the panel and tell us that one day, what's going on. But anyway, check this out, guys. This is kind of funny, but I'm gonna play this for you. Check this out. Yeah, let me hide it. Let me play it again because the my message was blocking it, but I'm gonna play this again. This is crazy. Watch this.
Okay.
I know that's weird, but yeah, you know, telling what you will see over here, right? Man, that's crazy. Oh, you're on there talking about Somali babes. He says Somali babes is Israel Young Lions kryptonite, and then he says, "LOL, still trying to get over my ex from earlier this year breaking up." Yeah. But anyway, let me know what you guys think of that last video. I'll play it again.
Okay.
Anyway, that's some goofy shit. But anyway, yeah. And let me see if I got one more. I think that was it. Okay, yeah, I think that was it. But anyway, yeah, I just wanted to briefly give you guys something fun. And before we wrap up with the topic, what is Israel say? I don't know what she was. Was she Nigerian? Maybe that was something that you were able to take from that made you think she was Nigerian. I don't know. You could be right. This is like something they would do. Kind of weird, but anyway. Yeah, let's get back to the topic at hand. Had our little intermission, as it were. But yeah, before we so we're basically breaking down the difference when it came to the money, and now we're talking about the difference when it comes to dealing with women, right? So here's the thing. The bottom line when it comes to the Night Riders, when it comes to the pills, and like I said, utilizing the Pillbox strategy in any given situation, depending on whatever the endeavor is, you could utilize whatever pill you like. We're not about pills necessarily. Shout out to the ones who are. That's cool. But we use a utilitarian strategy where we take whatever tool is in the box. Sometimes you need a wrench, sometimes you need a screwdriver, sometimes you need a hammer, right? So like I said, with my utility belt concept is that you're going to choose whatever tool you need to get the job done. Sometimes you might have to use a little game on a woman. Sometimes you might have to use, you know, more of a red pill strategy, even though I'm not red pill or blue pill or any of that stuff. We just believe in being practical and using whatever strategies. Now, as Sigma men, we have a specific way that we deal with women. And I'm going to highlight this for you because we kind of touched on it earlier. And the fact that a lot of women do find Sigma men appealing, but there's also rules of engagement that we have when it comes to women as well. So I'm going to play a little quick video on that to kind of illustrate my point. Let me see which one I'm going to pull out. So let's see. Okay, so now when it comes to that one, let's see. Yeah, I'll play this one right here.
Why some men seem to effortlessly captivate women? Sigma men are a bit of a paradox. They don't follow society's rules and march to the beat of their own drum. This unique attitude makes them irresistibly alluring to women, drawing them in with their confidence and mystery. Women often feel an unexplainable connection to Sigma men. It's not about their clothes or hairstyle. It's their whole package, how they carry themselves, their mindset, and how they interact with the world. Curious to know more? Here are 10 things women instantly notice about Sigma men. The first one is, Sigma males are trustworthy and don't play games. Do you know how people can sometimes play mind games to avoid facing the truth? Well, that's not how Sigma men roll. They're straight shooters. What they
Now let's be clear. This is being general because again, depending, and that's kind of what makes the Knight Rider branch of Sigma men a little different, is that we do believe in being straightforward, which I do. However, in today's climate, if you know some woman's trying to run game on you, then sometimes you have to, like I said, you may have to pull out a certain pill or whatever to deal with that particular situation. So it's not always about just being straightforward. Sometimes you have to deal with the type of energy that you're getting. So again, that's the reason why I'm letting you guys know that this is not a cookie cutter or a strictly, one size fits all situation. So depending on your particular, dealings with a woman, you just have to deal with them. I prefer to be upfront, but what you'll find is there's a lot of women who are not, and they like to play games and do little head games, and especially when you got all these different on the other side, because I think men often forget that women have their own little ecosystem of game and little strategies that they like to pull little head games. And I'm sure you guys like what Israel Youngline is talking about in the chat, all the BS he's been dealing with, and those are with foreign women, right? So he's talking about some of the things he's been dealing with East African women. Cool. So you just have to utilize whatever, you know, things that work. Maybe it's the shadow pill, like like Shadow throughout. You leave it to Shadow to bring up his own terminology as well. But yeah, you might have to pull out the shadow pill. It doesn't matter. In Shadow, if you care to explain to us exactly what the shadow pill is, that would be great. So you may have just came up with your own pill over here. So that's cool. But anyway, yeah, so it just depends on your situation. So let's get a little bit more.
say is what they mean. No sugarcoating. Sure, it might sting a bit sometimes, but honesty is their policy. And you know what? That's refreshing. Women dig a guy who's upfront instead of playing games. Take it from a Sigma man. He'll tell you straight up if your haircut isn't his cup of tea. It might not feel great, but hey, at least you know where you stand, right?
Yeah, so that's the thing, though. I've been in those situations where I've had to have uncomfortable conversations with women. I've told them exactly what it was. And, to varying degrees, sometimes it works out well, sometimes it doesn't. It's unfortunate. I've lost some very good relationships, that way. But again, I have to be upfront. Um, and I'm sure some of you have been in those type of situations as well. And, that's what kind of makes us different from a lot of the other, whether it be the pills or certainly the a lot of the maybe some of the manosphere guys as well. Um, a lot of times they tend to want to be more conciliatory or try to work things out, whereas typically with us, we'll kind of just say what it is, and if they don't want to in any way negotiate whatever the issue is, then we're more prone to walk away. And I think a lot of the alphas, because of their ego, a lot of times they'll sit there and kind of put up with certain things, and you'll see that kind of even in the manosphere, right? And shout out to the manosphere. I'm not throwing shots. I'm still cool with some people over there, but there's a lot of things that are different in terms of the operational procedures and in the the rules of engagement that they have when it comes to women versus what we have in terms of the way we think about it. But let's get a little bit more.
And that beats being strung along any day. Next, Sigma males have unshakable confidence. You know what's attractive to women? Confidence. And Sigma men? They've got it in spades. See? Confidence isn't about being cocky. It's about being secure in yourself. Sigma men know their worth, and they don't need constant validation from others.
Yeah, that's an important point too. A lot of you guys, you prefer to, be behind the scenes. You don't necessarily want
That self-assurance? It's
you don't necessarily want
magnetic.
you don't necessarily want to be the center of attention. I know I don't. I prefer to, move in the in the background, getting, that's why I use the symbology that I use over here, the Dark Knight, and all of that. So it just works with my personality, and I would prefer that in getting the job done than to get just the accolades that come along with it. So, and when it comes to women, they tend to like that about men if you show that type of quiet confidence. And I've been told that, I've been given, online and off, a lot of compliments from women to that effect. And you don't do things for that, but it's always interesting, when they pick up on those particular things, because the society kind of promotes it like the beta is the ideal, right? Which is totally opposite. They'll have all those sappy romantic movies, and they'll have this weak guy running up behind this woman, and they'll make that, something like that's gonna be the result in real life, when we know it's bullshit. And we know by and large those types of beta weak men oftentimes are the ones that get curved for the alpha or the sigma, and we understand that. But that's exactly the reason, one of the reasons why over here in the Night Riders we tend to associate more with that, outside the box type of mentality, and we have our interests, and we don't care what women think about it. I'm into a lot of different things that, I don't care if a woman's not into it. It's what I like to do. Right now, it's cool whenever I find a woman who likes to engage in some of the things I like to do, whether it's, hiking, or, going to museums, or whatever it is, things that they won't typically associate with particularly a black man, which is, like I said, which is what the Night Riders night lifestyle is. It's those things that make a sigma that they don't normally associate with black men. I mean, one time I was dating a woman back in the day when I was in my 20s, and she came to my house, and she was so shocked at my style of decor in my house, right? And she couldn't believe that I was, behind some of the art that was in my house, and in the themes that I had, like maybe an Oriental theme, an African theme, or, I had a bunch of different, it was very nice because I like nice things, right? Even though I'm very masculine, I have a very uh, nice sense of style in art. And so I had some of my over my door. This is when I still lived in the States. I had some of the above the door entries. There was like plants at the top, like little plants that were ornaments at the top of my doors and things, just little stuff like that. And she just couldn't believe, oh, you had one of them girls come over here and decorate your house. One of them type of situations. I know, I know how to decorate things myself. And the fact that I had a china cabinet built in, like a built-in china cabinet, and at the top I had some of you will know what this is, a wakizashi, or that is a short Japanese sword at the top. And she was like, I ain't never seen nobody with that, because she's used to dealing with those, I guess, beta dudes, right, who don't have a lot of style. Look at Shadow, he laughing, you know what I'm talking about, because he probably been in that same situation. But yeah, she saw that I had like this china cabinet at the top. I had a wakizashi, which is a short Japanese sword at the top, and a lot of other little decorations. So she was very blown away with my my style. But anyway, that's the type of thing that a lot of women, and she was intrigued, man. She used to see that's back when we had pagers, and she started becoming a stalker. So I had to kind of cut her loose, because we had those pagers, and I'd be at work and she'd be sending me those 911 pagers, and it was crazy. Y'all remember what I'm talking about. And it was just because I'd be at work, she think because I didn't return her call or whatever, and she would be blowing up my pager, and everything was 911. I'm like, damn. But anyway, that was back in like I said, I think I was in my 20s. But anyway, you guys know what I'm talking about. But let's get a little bit more.
Makes everyone around them feel more confident too. Women love that kind of stability. It makes them feel secure. So yeah, having a Sigma man by your side, it's like having your own personal confidence booster. Number 3. This is something only Sigma males possess: the unique sense of style. Ever noticed how
You know what? I just mentioned that. Yeah, I didn't even see that part yet. But yeah, ironically, I was just talking about that sense of style. And I'm sure a lot of you guys got your own unique sense of style as well, whether it's in your style of dress, the type of vehicles you like, this type of, the way your house looks, all of that, even, the type of things you read, or, the types of things that interest you as far as your downtime and all of that. It all pertains to your sense of style. But let's get it.
some guys are constantly chasing the latest fashion trends? Well, Sigma men, they're not about that hustle. They're more about crafting their own unique style. It's not just about making a fashion statement for them. It's about feeling comfortable in their own skin. Whether they're sporting a classic gentleman look or sticking to a sleek all-black ensemble.
Yeah, this is like me, right? Because some of my pictures, you might see me, I might have a suit on. Some people might get it twisted and think I'm always in a suit. No, I'm just as comfortable wearing khakis, jeans, a nice shirt. If I'm, depending on where I'm walking, I like to put on some boots, combat boots or whatever. So my style is, I like to have a very utilitarian style where it depends on what I'm doing. It's practical and fashionable. I'm not always in suits. I normally do it for business. But, I got a couple pictures where I'm wearing a suit or whatever, but don't get it twisted. You'll catch me wearing my biker jacket, my leather jacket, leather trench coat or whatever. I have a very unique, different style. Even when I was in high school, I stood out in terms of my fashion and my style. And back then, I would get attention as well. But it just depends on what your style is. And I'm sure a lot of you guys also have your own unique style. So let's get a little bit more.
Simplicity is their jam. While others might go wild with bright colors and flashy designs, Sigma men prefer to keep it low-key. Why? Because they know that when there's less to distract, people can focus more on what they have to say, especially when they're in the company of women. Let's talk about number 4. Sigma males are authentic and don't try to fit in with the crowd. Have you ever noticed how everyone seems to be trying to fit into the same mold these days? Well, not Sigma men. They're the ones who stand out from the crowd. They're comfortable being exactly who they are, so no apologies are needed. And you know what? Women are into that authenticity. Sigma men don't try to fit into any boxes. They're their own person, and they're cool with that. Their independence? It's a magnet for attention. They don't seek approval or validation. They're happy doing their own thing. These guys aren't about putting on a show to impress anyone. They're confident in their own skin and see the world through their own lens. They're often natural leaders, unafraid to.
Well, you notice to my point, a lot of these depictions, they'll use, these different guys who in real life, I think Tom Cruise might be a beta, but, you notice how they'll depict these as mostly the white guys, which is fine, but you very rarely see them depicting the black men as the Sigmas, which, as I would say, as a percentage, you may have more relative to other groups. You may have more black men that are Sigmas as well. But yeah, I think you pretty much get the point with that. But the overall thing about this was to show, as it pertains to, say, the pills, right? What makes particularly the Sigma in general, but the Knight Rider um, different from the pills. And again, it's not that we're against the pills per se, because everything has its merit, but it just depends on the situation. And we would utilize different elements, but our overall position and how we relate to women is more of a Sigma style. And depending on the particular woman, because every woman is different, overall a lot of them are the same, but depending on who you're dealing with, you could be dealing with a vastly different woman from one moment to the next. And sometimes it's the same woman who's different, but anyway. But what we like to do is just make sure that we are aware of utilizing whatever rules of engagement are necessary in any particular moment. So the thing that stands out about us versus these pills is that we don't adhere to one particular principle. We'll utilize what's necessary to get the job done, essentially. Now let's move on to, I guess that applies to the manosphere overall too. So I kind of put that all in the same thing, because when it comes to the manosphere and how it works, just like with the group thing, because you have, with the manosphere, they're doing conferences and things like that, which I'm not against. I've supported it in the past. And a lot of them, they kind of view participation in things that they establish as a way of helping, right? However, what I've noticed, and one of the reasons why I just kind of fall into this Sigma sphere, is that I'm very quick to pick up when someone is being one-sided. So you'll often see, particularly from what I've engaged, some of the alphas I've engaged with, a lot of them, they view the teamwork as them getting being the recipients of the benefits. They don't really necessarily see the reciprocal nature of, okay, well, you're asking me to do this for you, then what are you going to do for me? So I notice they tend to be one-sided in their, with this whole thing about teamwork and showing your work. And they like to kind of dismiss things that they can't see. So I don't operate like that. Again, I don't have to put on Front Street. I'm not trying to impress anybody with what I'm doing in real life. I can show videos of some of the things I'm doing and what I've done and all that. I'm not trying to prove nothing to nobody. Now, we get together, guys, those of you who rock over here heavy, and we decide to, do some things behind the scenes and, show some of the things that I'm doing. I'm giving you guys some privileged information. Then that's one thing. But I'm not one of these guys that needs to put everything out on front. I don't work like that. And it gets exhausting to me when someone's always trying to be the chocolate peacock and always trying to prove something to somebody. Oh, I got to show what I'm doing. No, I'm not that dude. I don't work well with people like that. And I certainly don't work well with people who don't have a reciprocal nature, and they always want to see you helping them. And they see that as you participating and carrying your weight, but they don't have the same type of energy to help you. Case in point, as I said, I've done it. I've had to deal with that type of situation in real life and online. I've had guys who, I've showed support to monetarily coming through supporting channels, and they don't want to, reciprocate. They claim they was going to come over and we could do a collab or whatever. And I don't give a damn whether they do it or not. But there have been guys who, would say that they were, and then all of a sudden it's one-sided. They want you to do for them, but they don't realize that they're dealing with a Sigma. Like me, I just cut them loose, and there's no shade, or I don't have anything against them, but I don't operate like that. And once I peep game that you're one-sided, then you do your thing, I'm gonna do my thing, and it's all good. But that's part of like what I was talking about earlier when I showed that video about how Sigmas and alphas, sometimes the reason why they don't get along, and I've experienced that personally. But anyway, um, yeah. So when it comes to the whole manosphere thing, again, they have a way of doing stuff that doesn't necessarily mesh with my personality, and a lot of times they will misinterpret um, us Sigmas, particularly us Night Riders, as being antisocial. And nothing can be further from the truth. We're very social. I love going out, hanging out, going on out with women, taking women to nice places, uh, traveling, all of that. So very outgoing when it comes to enjoyment. Although I'm introverted when it comes to my overall lifestyle, but that's not to say I'm not a hermit, and I'm not in monk mode or nothing like that. So I think some guys who are alpha or in the manosphere, they'll look at how some of us move and they'll think that we're just being antisocial, and that somehow because we don't put everything out on Front Street that we're not actively doing stuff. So it's kind of weird, but that's one of the conflicts, is that we can figure them out and they can't figure us out. So that's one of the biggest things about what separates this sphere, which you can consider like the black Sigma sphere versus the black manosphere, and particularly us as Night Riders, is that we are more introverted. We're not antisocial. We just like to do things the way we do them. And typically we could be just as, if not more effective than them, who feel like they have to go out and do the chocolate peacock thing, or work themselves into a frenzy, trying to prove something to somebody. We don't do that. And what did Shadow say? He said, someone just tried to break into my house just a minute ago. What? Food dip as soon as he saw the infrared laser pointed at his temple. Are you for real? Shadow Zulu, man, for real? That's crazy, bro. Man, live, but he's still rolling with the Night Riders, boy. He's still on the channel. I'd have been out there trying to catch him, man. Like, make sure he don't come back. I'd have let some go. I'd have popped some off right there. He said, "Yeah, damn, man, I'm glad you're okay, bro. Yeah, always keep your eyes open, even though I know you're heavily enthralled in the broadcast, but don't let that take you off your square in terms of being aware." So I'm glad you're okay. Glad you got the beam on him. So you said you put it on his temple. I probably would have bust some warning shots at him. Hey, Shadow, did you hear about those immigrants that they were showing up at people's houses and over in Colorado, and that whole thing with this immigration, which is crazy to me? And these guys were coming up, showing it up with guns, telling these people that they gotta move, or they the new landlords, they gotta pay them rent or something. Did you hear about that, Shadow? Because somehow what your story said reminded me of that. Oh yeah, he said, "Yep, the Venezuelan gangs." Could you imagine how the B Dubs would react to that? For all the talk that they have about how they don't need men, they would probably capitulate to that stuff. They ain't like us. You see how that dude came to your house and you had that infrared on him? I don't think the B Dubs would respond like that. They would probably, be scared. Some of them claim to maybe get some heat on them, but it ain't the same. They don't know how to handle it. Just like with those Venezuelans. I saw one video. They showed up at this woman's house. I think she was just cowering in the corner. I'm the type of guy, if they showed up, it would have been the last time they showed up. I'd have been like Tony Montana in that motherfucker. I'd have opened that door. I'd have say hello to my little friend. I'd have lit that whole hallway up. I'd have aired out that whole hallway. I'd be like, this is the last time you showing up in my house. And tell them, talking about you, the new landlords. I came out there busting. I'd have been blasting, opening the door. Say hello to my little friend. You want to play rough? You want to play rough? Say hello to my little friend. Bah, bah, bah. Man, I'd have lit that hallway up. They'd be like, oh, okay, my friend. Okay. Okay, you no pay, you no pay. They'd have been running because they wouldn't have expected that. I'd have opened the door with a freaking 12 gauge and just busting on them. That's all I would have did. I wouldn't have said nothing. I would have looked through the peephole, seen them fools out there, and just opened up and start busting. That's what I would have did. They be like, "It's okay, my friend. No, you no pay. You no pay. I mean, in fact, give me your goddamn money. Yeah, you ain't getting enough for me. Give me your money." I wish they would show up at my door like that. But again, that just goes to show you the difference between how we as Sigmas operate, masculine Sigmas, but you are the type of guys that these women claim they don't need or want. But once they get into those type of situations, they realize that they ain't prepared. But yeah, but you know how to handle it. But I'm proud of you, Shadow, man. Yeah, you put that infrared on them. But again, I probably would have bust at them. But anyway, you probably did the right thing just by, letting them know that you ain't the one. But I'm glad you're okay, bro. He said, "I keep the steel ready on deck." Yeah, I like that. So you even while you're tuning in, you got the steel ready. But how did you? What did he do? You said he tried to break in. Was he? Did he actually break into a window or something? Anyway, that's crazy. I think that's a first on a live where we got somebody who had experienced something like that. But yeah, I'm glad you're okay, bro. Yeah, yeah. So yeah, give us a little more detail as well. Yeah, you know what? I changed my. There we go. But anyway, yeah, so that's pretty much it. Oh, I think the last one I'm going to talk about, because I think we pretty much made it clear how we're different from the, with regard to the women dynamic, how we're different from the pills and the manosphere. But you also, I'm sure you guys heard of the whole no Keisha zone thing, particularly with, what's his name? Um, Accountable Commentary. Shout out to him. Um, he and some others, they have what they call the no Keisha zones, where they don't really like women to come through on their channels to leave comments, and they certainly wouldn't have them on panels and things like that. And I get it, and I'm not one of these guys that say it's wrong, because I know that a lot of guys in their real life, they have to deal with the quote Keishas, or that is to say the B Dubs, or like Israel says, the B Devils, the one who has the bad attitudes. Because I don't say that all black women are like that. We're talking about the ones with the bad attitude, right? So these guys who create these no Keisha zones, what differs between them and us is that we don't mind engaging with these women, because typically we try to live in such a way that these type of women are not in our lives. So we don't work necessarily around them, and even if we do, we have a type of mentality where we can move around them without letting them get to us, to the point where we just can't stand to be around them. And a lot of these guys, unfortunately, they're in situations where they got to work for one, and they may even have a boss that's one, which is crazy. Or they live next to one, or anything like, or they're dating one, or who knows. But the point is, they have a very low tolerance when it comes to what they would consider these Keishas. So when they get online, the last thing they want to do is see the comments from one of them, or certainly talk to them. So they'll create these no Keisha zones. And again, in principle, I'm not against it, because I believe that black men should have safe spaces just like anybody else, because you can catch everybody else screaming about they need a safe space. Well, black men do too. It just so happens that over here, we don't mind, as long as they're coming over here respectful. They can certainly chime in, and they do. You can look at the comments. Some of them are scared too, and I know a lot of them, they'll come over and they'll leave comments, and then they'll delete them, or they'll say stuff, and then I'll respond, and then they just run and they don't come back. So, or they'll just shadow watch after that, because once I dissect them. But I'm not doing it to make them look bad. I'm just saying, hey, if you say something, we're gonna counter it. Simple as that. And again, the platform is always open. If one of them respectfully wants to come on, they can, to share their piece, because I believe in dialogue. And none of them live around me, so what's it to me? I don't care. It makes for good content. And just like the lady who I mentioned at the open, this Marie chick who sent me like 15 emails, she's welcome to come on panel too. Now I'd have to, make sure she ain't back shit crazy. She's sending me information, so I can't really tell. Even though she did send me a lot of emails, she may just be passionate. So I'll fill her out, and we always give her the boot if she comes acting too crazy. But we're not a no Keisha zone over here. Not because we're pro Keisha in terms of those women in their behavior. We go hard and condemning him, but it's not mutually exclusive. We can go hard on them while at the same time allowing them to say their piece when if need be. So, but I do get it. I do get the fact that some guys need and want to have what they deem as the quote no Keisha zones, and they don't want to even talk to them online. I get it, but I don't feel that way because again, I don't have to deal with them on a daily basis. If I did, maybe I feel differently too. But again, I believe in showing improving, and I don't mind putting up my arguments and my information up against whatever they have. So to me, it just strengthens our position when we do that. So, yeah, what did Shadow say? He said, "Yeah, I'm on the 3rd floor." He said, "Dude was trying to come from the back door, had a flashlight and laser pointed at him from the top." Oh, okay, yeah, you had to drop on him, but yeah, that's crazy that he would even do that. He said, "1st floor back door." Yeah, he said, "Heard someone trying to kick the door down." Damn. Yeah, he was coming in. He probably had something on him himself, bro. So yeah, I'm glad you were paying attention, even though you're tuning into the broadcast. I'm glad you are astute enough to know what's going on. But yeah, that's one thing I don't have to deal with where I am, but I do appreciate what you guys are having to deal with still being in the States. Because of my hometown where I'm from, that's a common occurrence, bro. And that's why I stay I mean, I had an arsenal, I had a bunch of stuff. I had I lived like in a fort. You talk about the pillbox, I was like living in a pillbox, with my property. I made sure I kept it very secure and all that. So I know what it's like to be in that environment. But preferably you want to get to the point where you don't have to deal with that. And I know Shadow is very heavily into tech. He's heavily into crypto and so forth. So definitely, once he gets everything situated the way he wants, if he chooses to, he could uproot himself from that situation, or he could stay and just make sure he fortifies it even stronger, utilizing the pillbox strategy. So either way it goes, bro, you're gonna be cool. But I definitely am happy that you were able to neutralize that situation here live while you're tuning into the broadcast while somebody's trying to get in there, and you're able to run them off. So that's very, very cool. But anyway, um, what he said, he said he almost got hit with the shadow pill from my Smith and Wesson. That's crazy, bro. But I'm glad you didn't have to do that. Even though I'm saying I probably would have, popped some off at him, just to make sure he didn't come back. I'm glad you didn't have to take it there, and that he didn't get the drop on you. So yeah, but that's a live illustration, guys. I could not have planned that. While we're having this topic, talking about the pillbox strategy and how, as Night Riders, and what we're trying to do to kind of make sure that we're good and protected, and we have a live demonstration with Shadow Zulu has somebody trying to get in his crib right here on air. Where else y'all gonna get that, right? See, that's why I see in the middle of the night when we're doing this broadcast. See, other people that broadcast during the day, that may not happen, because since we're doing this at night, that's when that things like that can go down, right? And Shadow, what city are you in, if you don't mind telling us? Because that sounds like something that would happen in my hometown of Gotham. I mean, Chi-Town. That sounds like something that would be going on there. So I don't think you're in Gotham City, like where I'm from. I think you're in Boston. What? I did not. You know what? I heard some things about Boston. I've never been there, but I have heard some things. So okay, that's crazy, bro. But yeah, it's just you know what? Anywhere in the States that can happen. So that's not unusual for the States. So yeah, definitely. Well, anyway, bro, I'm glad you shared that with us. I'm glad you were still on the live after that, because me, like I said, I probably would have maybe went after him a little bit. But I'm glad you handled that situation and was able to tell us about it. So that is cool. But anyway, yeah, guys, I think that is a very good note to end on, because we're coming to the 2.5 hour mark, and I didn't want to make this one of our 3 or 4 hour marathons, although occasionally we do that. But I think we pretty much hit all points tonight, in terms of what I wanted to talk about, and I hope you guys that were not as familiar with the Night Rider lifestyle and what we're about over here, that you are now more familiar, for friends and foes alike, people who are rocking with us and the ones who are not. This at least gives you the analysis of who we really are, instead of mislabeling us as I have been in the past. We're not password bros. I'm not red pill manosphere. None of that. We got our own thing, and you need to understand it. And for those of you who are already familiar with this, then this was a refresher course. And I hope you were able to take away from this what you were able to get. So again, appreciate all of you guys who are in the building. Some of you who are watching in the shadows. Shout out to you as well. Shout out to everybody who's going to watch this playback. Once again, I enjoy sharing this time with you on the weekends after a busy week. Got another one coming up. And yeah, so this is cathartic, and we definitely appreciate your participation. If you want to hit the like, hit the share, subscribe, you want to, give your contribution, it's all good. You will appear in the end credits. We think we're running out of space for that, but we'll figure out another way to acknowledge you. Israel Young Lion is up there, and I think you have to give more than him to bump, to get up there with him. But yeah, I think that would be the minimum. Some of you go and just buy like something on the Patreon, which is like some of those $2 uh, information booklets we have. That won't do it. You get the benefit of the information, but we'd have to you have to give at least as much as what Israel did. And yeah, thank you, bro. Appreciate you. Yeah, you guys all make it happen. This is for you. This was created for you, and you guys make it what it is, and continue to rock with us. We're gonna continue to rock with you. Um, Israel got his own little live over there. I'm still checking you out, bro. So I appreciate you acknowledging my little comment I left for you, and all you other Night Riders. You get time, go check out Israel Young Lion. I always like to cross promote people. If you ever want to drop your link, Israel, you could drop your link right now if you like. Let people rock with your channel over there too. He does good stuff over there. You guys, anybody else who's one of the Night Riders, and you got a channel you want to promote, drop your link, let me know. And yeah, we'll go from there. But yeah, if old girl, if Marie decides to come on the panel, bro, I'll let you know. Or if she shows up in the comments, I'm sure she gonna get this what we've been talking about. So if she shows up, I want you to talk to her, bro. And then Shadow says, I'm gonna have to start placing some trip wires in the backyard now. Yeah, I would recommend that, bro. So you don't want them to get the drop on you. So I'm glad you were able to catch that, dude. Even though you're definitely over here rocking with us during this live, I'm glad you were able to catch them. So shout out to you. But anyway, yeah, that's hey, we didn't expect that, but all was well that ends well. I'm glad we got a happy ending, and Shadow, we didn't see him on the news. We wonder what Shadow Zulu. We just heard about somebody in Boston, something happening to him. I'm glad, Israel laughing. But yeah, we, but it's ironic that all fits the narrative and the theme of tonight's show. So I don't think you guys can get a better anecdote to what I'm saying and what the Night Rider lifestyle is about. And we got a clear live example right there with Shadow Zulu being assaulted, or someone trying to come in on him. And because he's a Night Rider, he's up at night, he's getting this information, he's armed, because we advocate for that, being prepared. And there you go, right there. Boom. So I don't know where else you're gonna get that live like that, but anyway, yeah. But again, I don't regulate where you guys go. You're free to go wherever. That's what I'm saying. We're more like a software than a hardware. We're not trying to pin you down nowhere. I believe in the utilitarian, or the utility belt concept. Use and gather whatever you need that's gonna make your life the best for you. And so with that, once again, thank you all for showing up and showing out. This has been fire. I appreciate you. I hope that this was helpful. And I felt the need because we have been talking so much about the women, you know, there's a lot of estrogen going on. So we have to put some testosterone back over here. You know how we do. Because at the end of the day, we're men over here. And that's the reason why we're called a squad, because we're an elite group. And that's why we call it the Squadcast. So, you know, just to let you guys know, shout out to Shadow Zulu. Yeah, you made it fire too. So I'm glad you didn't have to fire, Shadow. So I appreciate you saying that it's fire, but I'm glad you did not have to fire. So, so that's a little more wordplay for you guys. But anyway, appreciate you as per usual. Thank you for showing up. And we're going to end the way we always do. We're not just a podcast. We're a Squadcast. There's a very big difference. Mission complete. Over and out.
Yeah.